Beyond the Gates spoilers for all the action unfolding between Monday, May 26 to Friday, May 30. Ted is at his wit's end, while Leslie hopes to bring him back into her orbit. Meanwhile, Haley's news leaves Danny questioning pretty much everything. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Monday, May 26. Even the newest soap on the airwaves gets to take a day off, or at least air a rerun, when national holidays roll around. But don't worry, there's plenty of juicy stuff coming up during the rest of the week. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Tuesday, May 27. Bill has dropped a few anvil-sized insinuations about Martin's past. But when Smitty tries getting answers from his hubby, it's going to prove more difficult than he might hope. Haley is about to share a bit of news that will knock Chelsea for an absolute loop. Thomas makes major progress with Kat, who finally lets down her guard where he's concerned. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Wednesday, May 28. Just how long until Smitty, who is getting increasingly suspicious, gets answers as to what really happened in Martin's past? Still reeling from what she's learned, Chelsea tells Danny the scoop. And to say that Danny is surprised is an understatement. It seems pretty clear that Ashley and Derek are toast, but they're still dealing with residual issues. Tyrell and Jessica are getting closer when his insecurities kick into overdrive. Will he sabotage things before they can even really get started? Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, May 29. Danny has thoughts about Haley, and she's sharing them with Bill. Given how much Doug owes Joey, is it really wise of him to push things? Kat and Jacob find a bit more information regarding the attack which landed Laura in the hospital. Leslie does what she can to try and pull Ted back into her web. But he's not really that dumb, is he? Beyond the Gates spoilers for Friday, May 30. Kat's been playing detective, and she uncovers a crucial piece of evidence which just might create big trouble for Leslie. Ted can't quite figure out how to win Nicole back. Has he really lost her forever? Anita is worried that her past fears might rise up to impact her future. Next week on Beyond the Gates, Eva proves she's as crafty as her mother. Plus, is she or isn't she pregnant? That's what everyone wants to know about Haley. At the country club, Martin slow claps and confronts Bill at Haley. He says he might have done something terrible one night, but this man. Bill cuts him off and suggests he mind his surroundings. What has Martin so up in arms that he's bringing up his dirty secret in broad daylight? Caught red-handed by her husband last week, Vanessa admitted to Doug that she'd been seeing other men, but in the end, she didn't want to leave him and would always come home to him. Doug didn't feel the need to share his secrets with his wife, that he was in debt to Joey. Next week at the casino, Joey is impressed that Vanessa seems to be a natural at playing poker as she rakes in her winnings. As Vanessa is heard saying, "I guess I don't mind taking a few risks after all," Vanessa and Joey begin tearing each other's clothes off. In Bill's office, Naomi asks Haley, with Bill present, "Am I supposed to throw my stepmonster at Baby Moon Girl's trip now?" Wait, Haley's pregnant? Maybe, or maybe not. Danny also confronts Haley and tells her to take a test in front of her, or prove she's a liar by just saying no. Is Haley lying, or is she carrying Bill's baby? Leslie's plan to frame Eva for her crimes by taunting Kat that her daughter ran down Laura backfired after Kat recorded their conversation and shared it with Jacob. The detective began to focus on Leslie as the guilty party, but needed hard evidence. After Leslie finally admitted to Eva she had done it all for them, Eva put her own plan into motion. Next week, Eva breaks into her mother's place and says, "Always have a spare. That's what you taught me, Mama." Leslie then asks her daughter, "What did you do with my helmet and gloves?" It seems Eva has secured the evidence Jacob needs. Be sure to read the Beyond the Gate spoilers to find out what sabotages Tyrell's moment with Jessica, and what Anita has to be fearful of. We begin with Leslie stealing toiletries from Eva's hotel room, like the Grinch snatching up all of the Who's Christmas decorations. only for her gleeful crime spree to get interrupted by the arrival of her beloved Teddy. Leslie immediately throws herself at him, but he counters by calling her truly a sick person, at which point she claims she wasn't being serious about boning him right there in their daughter's hotel room. She says she only dropped by to check on Eva, but Ted questions her sudden Mother of the Year act, especially since he can see that she's stuffed her bag full of Eva's belongings. Ted asks why Leslie told Kat that Eva ran Laura off the road, even though she has an ironclad alibi, but Leslie does what she does best, evading the question until Ted accuses her of doing the deed herself. "Push me, and I will make sure Eva catches even more hell than she's already facing," Leslie replies, at which point Ted makes one thing perfectly clear. "There is nothing I won't do to protect my child, especially from you, you crazy bitch." Ted storms out in a rage, but Leslie makes one quick correction before he takes off. "That's Ms. Bitch." Leslie returns home to figure out which of her many disguises to entice Ted with next, eventually settling on one we've yet to see, Nicole 2.0, complete with her signature coat and hairstyle. "This is what gets you all hot and bothered, Teddy?" she asks herself in the mirror. "All that bougie, prissy, proper, professional perfection?" Over at Dupree Manor, Anita is confident that she and Tracy are going to find their rhythm, but the former bandmates aren't quite as in sync as Anita thinks they are. "You sure as hell won the lottery, didn't you, Anita?" Tracy asks, marveling at her lavish existence. "1 minute, we were sharing makeup, jewelry, and dreams, and the next minute, you're here, living like black royalty." Anita acknowledges that she's blessed, but she insists that she earned everything she has achieved. "Nobody gave me this life," she tells Tracy. "I worked hard for every award, every gold record, every penny." "Is that what you tell yourself?" Tracy claps back, explaining that she's been stuck working for tips ever since the group disbanded. "Nobody ever wanted me without the great Anita Williams attached. Even when it was supposed to be about me, somehow it always circled back to you. Then things start to get really ugly. Maybe what I was missing was your willingness to walk over anyone that got in your way," Tracy says. Anita reminds Tracy that she wasn't the first artist to go to solo, but Tracy isn't satisfied. "You left at the worst possible time," Tracy says. "Right when we needed you most." Anita explains that she couldn't face Tracy or Sharon after what happened. She says she felt like she was drowning, barely holding on. "Work was my salvation, something that didn't remind me of what happened," Anita says. But Tracy isn't buying it. "You were willing to do what the rest of us couldn't, be ruthless. The minute Dant expressed interest in you as a solo act, you were gone. Admit it, Anita, you threw us away." This is where Anita starts to hold her ground. "The music business is tough, Tracy," she says. "And I'm sorry it wasn't going to work out for you and Sharon, but I wasn't going to let that hold me back. It didn't matter what or who I had to sacrifice, and I am sorry it had to be that way, that you and Sharon became collateral damage." "But it wasn't just Sharon and me, was it?" Tracy asks. Meanwhile, Martin arrives home, excited to see Smitty back in the newsroom flow, as he continues to work on his story about the dark side of social media influencers. Smitty has something important to discuss with Martin, but they're interrupted by Vernon, who drops by to help Samantha with a history project. Smitty suggests that he and Martin go to Orphegene's to discuss that aforementioned something important, but Martin turns it into a group thing instead, inviting Vernon and Samantha to join them, irritating Smitty in the process. At Garland Memorial, Doug is celebrating finally getting his cast off. Vanessa told him she'd be there for the big moment, but she's otherwise occupied, flirting with Joey at Orphegene's. "Celebrating my recovery without me," Doug asks when he arrives at the diner, just in time to hear Joey and Vanessa talking about what a great team they are. Vanessa apologizes for not being at the hospital, and Joey offers Doug a seat at their table, but he turns them both down. Three's a crowd, And you two seem to be doing just fine without me, he says before storming out. At this point, everyone in the diner has their eyes on Joey and Vanessa, especially Smitty, who wonders if they should tell Nicole that her best friend appears to be having a public affair. Even Samantha picks up on the romantic vibes between them, but Martin shuts that talk down. Some folks need to learn when to let sleeping dogs lie, Martin says extremely passive-aggressively. And speaking of crumbling marriages, Vanessa bumps into Ted at the hospital, taking the opportunity to give him a piece of her mind. Several pieces, actually. "You're some piece of work, walking around here like everything's sweet," she tells him. "Ted Richardson, you're one clueless son of a bitch." She reads him the riot act about loyalty and fidelity, never once stopping to realize that she's wading in some pretty dangerous waters herself. "I don't need you to tell me about Nicole's worth," Ted replies. "I know there are wounds that can't be healed and sins that can't be undone, but I live with that truth every day. If it's any comfort to you, Vanessa, just know that I'll never forgive myself." Beyond the Gates spoilers indicate that there is a rift between Anita Dupree and her former singing partner, Sharon. Anita recently reunited with Tracy, a member of their three-girl group. The articulates, and it was mentioned that Vernon Dupree chose Anita over Sharon, which could be the root of the tension between Sharon and Anita. Is it possible that Vernon had a fling with Sharon before he married Anita? And perhaps they have a child that neither Vernon or Anita knows about? It is possible that Vernon saw the articulates perform one night and ended up taking up with Sharon. Sharon fell for Vernon, and they started to see each other. She really thought that Vernon was the one, and then he started to notice her bandmate, Anita. This did not sit well with Sharon, who immediately noticed the chemistry between the two. She and Vernon had spent some steamy nights together, and she was shocked when he passed her off to be with Anita. This is what could have led to the breakup of the articulates, as Sharon was not happy that Vernon dumped her for Anita. This also was the beginning of the rivalry and tension between Anita and Sharon. Anita, Sharon, and Tracy ended up going their separate ways, and Sharon may have soon found out after Anita and Vernon became a couple that she was pregnant with Vernon's child. Sharon was devastated by Vernon leaving her for Anita and decided not to tell anyone the truth about her pregnancy. Sharon would not want to raise the baby on her own, and also she did not want to tell Vernon about the child because she didn't want him to feel obligated to take care of it. Sharon would have made the decision to give up the child for adoption. Sharon could have secretly given birth to the baby and given the child up for adoption. Vernon would have never known that he had another child and another heir to the Dupree fortune. Sharon wanted it that way, and that is another reason why she has cut off all contact with Anita, as she doesn't want anyone to know the truth. Sharon would not know where the baby is, but Vernon might have another child out there with a claim on the Dupree fortune. What do you think? Do you think Sharon and Vernon had a fling before he ended up with Anita? Did Sharon end up pregnant with Vernon's child? Is there another Dupree heir out there? Keep watching Beyond the Gates, weekdays on CBS, to find out what's next. And don't forget to check back right here for all your latest Beyond the Gates information, news, and spoilers. The Beyond the Gates drama will have to wait until after Memorial Day. That's when the What to Watch storylines for May 26 to 30 reveal a few doozies, including unexpected news courtesy of Haley. Meanwhile, Kat continues to investigate Leslie, and Smitty has questions for Martin. Tuesday, May 27. Episode number 60. Martin dodges Smitty's questions about Bill's insinuations. Haley's unexpected news throws Chelsea for a loop. Kat lets her guard down with Thomas. Wednesday, May 28. Episode number 61. Smitty grows increasingly suspicious. Chelsea's news has Danny doubting reality. Ashley and Derek confront the lingering tension in their relationship. Tyrell's insecurities sabotage his moment with Jessica. Thursday, May 29. Episode number 62. Danny issues a warning to Bill regarding Haley. Doug takes a risk with Joey. Kat and Jacob uncover more about Laura's attack. Meanwhile, Leslie tries to pull Ted back into her world. Friday, May 30. Episode number 63. A crucial piece of evidence comes to light in Kat's investigation of Leslie. Ted struggles with how to repair his relationship with Nicole. Anita fears the past will derail her future.